What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening and good night. I don't know. If it was there, I had to say it. I hope everyone's having a good Friday. Trying out a live again on a Friday to see if it lands. It's always interesting going live on Fridays. I always wonder who's actually working in the mortgage industry because I know that you know what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about storytelling today. Man, I am so infatuated with this quote. I put it up there right now. I've been rocked by how powerful stories are for our salespeople, for ourselves, for our community. Man, they shape everything, don't they? And I come from a family of storytellers, which is really cool. So I'm like, if you don't know my dad, Dan, hey guys, what's going on? He is an incredible storyteller. In fact, if you ever watch the movie Big Fish, if you've ever seen that before, you know what I'm talking about. That is a really cool movie, and it's about storytellers. And hey, happy Friday, Ben. And my dad's a big storyteller, so there you go. I've learned over the years that if we frame everything we're doing in stories, we can really get our point across. But there's a couple things I want to break down on this story topic. First of all, the back end of the quote from Steve Jobs is right there. Set the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come. It's just unbelievable. So let's unpack a couple things here and talk about storytelling. First, I have to share one of my favorite stories. I share this story all the time because it's true. And here you go. Let's just go right into it. So when I started originating, I was 23, had a Honda Civic, glorious head of hair, and a suit with shoulder pads in it. Like, no joke. It was amazing. And I would go out on Thursday and Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays to visit real estate agents and their open houses, right? Build relationships out there, show them I'm working, they're working, I'm working, right? Modern day hustle. Well, I really distinctly remember driving up to one of the best real estate agents' open houses, looking in kind of the door, kind of seeing and seeing that the agent was actually in there. And then being so terrified to go in and put myself in a position of vulnerability. I have huge insecurities and fear of rejection, all this stuff, that I literally drove away, straight up drove away. Couldn't handle it, could not handle just. And I tell that story all the time because number one, isn't that all of us to a degree? I really believe that it's all of us. We've all had that moment in our career where we just couldn't handle some situation and we drove away. And I shared New Hire Orientation, and I was a great producer, by the way. That year, my first year, I did over $80 million in production. Most of it purchase, literally going to open houses and broker previews and trying to build relationships to grow my business. So it works, but even though I had these great years of production, I still drove away from that guy's house. Now, there's a couple ways to frame that story, and there's helpful ways and harmful ways. And so harmful way would be to me to wrap that story up in my brain and go, hey, I was a coward. I failed. And let that be the driving narrative of that story. Instead, I have that framed story of it's just the experience I went through to accomplish what I did. And I'm proud that I was able to overcome that kind of insecurity to go into the houses later and build relationships with mortgage real estate professionals and grow my business. And here's my point for you guys, besides just that you need to share your story. There's a lot of people that are afraid of their story and afraid of sharing it. And so if we can just get authentic for a second, there are a lot of people out there that you're embarrassed about your background or the stories that have made up your life, and you hide it. And one of my biggest encouragements for you today on this live is to let it out. Let the beast out, because hey, Ashley from Gilbert, when you let out your story and you embrace who you are, it magnifies your power in human connection. And if you're in sales, you have to recognize that the human connections is just the foundation. Without that, you're not going to be a good salesman, a salesperson. So how are you, or what part of your story are you hiding, and what should you unleash? The second part of storytelling that I think is so important to unpack is storytelling in your video content as a strategy to build human connection. So if you guys have followed me for a while, or you've seen my 100 videos in 100 days, or any of that stuff, you know that I'm big about encouraging you to produce content at scale to grow your influence. And you got to do it through storytelling. Let me give you an example. We talk a lot about educating people. And so there's tons of information in the mortgage business that people should get educated on, right? Like what to prepare for buying your first home. Well, you could very easily make content that says, hey guys, let me explain to you what minimum down payment requirements are for a loan. And you could do a 4-minute video on down payment requirements for a loan. No one's connecting to that. Maybe someone's connecting to that. Or you can tell a story about somebody who didn't think they could buy a home that you helped. A real one, please. Don't make it up. A real one. But a lot of you are pros, so you can do this. And describe how you helped somebody who didn't understand that they could buy a house with little down, and how you showed them all these options. And all of a sudden, you're educating everybody through a story. There is so much power in storytelling. Debt to income ratio, the most boring topic in the world, DTI, right? Industry jargon. But what about a time that you saved somebody's transaction because of how you structured the loan, or maybe you leveraged like an asset dissipation tool, and now debt to income becomes a person and a story and a solution, and you can explain the rules about it in an impactful way and how it changed someone's life. Now you're weaving storytelling into education, and trust me, this is going to absolutely like rocket boost your business when you wrap in storytelling, especially if it's helpful storytelling. You with me? So my message kind of today is twofold. Number one, I really hope that you are empowered to leverage your story and to share it, and the path that you've been on in life, and the hardships and the tribulations and the things that you might be embarrassed about. And I hope that you share that, and that you let it become part of your authentic story, because it will absolutely megaphone your business. Trust me, it's an empowering thing when you just let it out. The second part that I hope to kind of just press on you guys today is, as you're building content, do it with stories. All right. Steve Jobs quote, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Just tell your story and explain to your community online and locally the amazing stuff you're doing through stories. Does that make sense? Are you with me? I'm going to, Mary D wrote a comment. I'm learning everyone has stuff in their life. It's just different stuff. Man, that's the truth, isn't it? And so sometimes we got to let that stuff out. We got to share it, because otherwise we're holding on to it and it's not serving us. And so on this Friday today, and for a lot of you guys on the West Coast, it's 10:30 in the morning. I want you to put out one of your stories today. I do. I want you to put it out right now. I want you to finish watching this. I want you to shut it down. I want you to turn your camera on, and I want you to share your story about why you're in this business, or somebody you just helped, or a situation that you were able to help somebody overcome because XYZ. And I want you to see the power of that in real life, like as a real example. Just say, Alec, baby, do it. I don't care. But you need to do it. And trust me, you won't be Adam, I'm with you. Hey, Adam. Great storyteller right there is Adam Encinas, if you guys are not following that guy. And I'm telling you, this is going to empower your business today, right now. I want you to just shut this down, go do it, tag me, and share your story. You with me on this, guys? It's powerful. It's powerful stuff, and it'll absolutely transform your business and those around you. And if you're in leadership, you got to tell your story more often. I mean, I was just talking to somebody that I would love to join our company this morning. And he asked me what is important and what do I expect him to do here as a leader. And man, right in my head, one of my things was like, just be a great storyteller. It's probably not what he was expecting to hear. Maybe it was, but maybe he expected me to say, go grow the market and hire everybody and do a bunch of loans. And I'm like, just be a great storyteller. The more that you communicate your story to others, the more it empowers your business. Hey, Chaz, long time. Good to see you on Facebook. So does this all make sense? Empower your business through your personal story, and use stories to educate your general community about the boring stuff of mortgage, because they'll understand. They can understand what happens because when you share a story about another human being, we all connect. We all know what's going on. Do you get me? This is important stuff. You got to frame it or else you get left behind. All right, we'll keep the live short today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm telling you right now, shut this down and go film a video and share why you do and what you do it, and tell a story and watch the world become changed around you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. See you next week.